All right, so Tairin Silent Shogun review part two. I know it took a while, took longer than I said it would. Ran into some problems with the hub during the summer, so I wanted to wait till I get a good grasp on it to do the second review. So basically what happened is I ordered the hub. It came in a certain configuration, as you know, as I said on the first review, with an alloy shaft, and it came with an E-spring configuration. And at first, I was having, it was doing good. It was silent and everything. And after a little while, I started to experience some problem of engagement with the hub. So basically, I would be riding whatever, and things would be shaky and whatnot, and then I would go to put a pedal back on, pedal strike, and then nothing. I would catch free air, basically. So that was quite an issue. I had a few instances where I'd be in a bike park, and then coming down, and then you've got that jump in front of you, and you're like, I'm not going fast enough. I need at least two more pedal stroke, and nothing. And then you go to put a good load on it, and then you just catch air, and it throws you off balance. And yeah, I had a few instances where I thought I was gonna die. So I wrote to Tairin and explained the issue, and we brainstormed about it for a little bit back and forth. They came up with different theory as to why it was happening. I sent them pictures. They wanted pictures of the camshaft plate. They wanted all kinds of pictures to see if the actual free hub was in good condition. What could cause that? So they sent me back a new cam plate, two new springs, and they even sent me a steel shaft because they thought maybe I was having flex in the hub or in the shaft, and that was causing the tab to come off the cam plate. Because those go like this. Basically, this goes inside that little notch there, right? So if this comes off, then that can create issues. I really doubt that the shaft is is an issue here, because I've been riding alloy shaft all my life, and starting with like a Chris King hub back in the days when I was doing trial, and God knows it got abused quite a bit just with pedal kicks all the time. Like this is trial, you just pedal kick everything, and never had any issue with that. Then I had an i9 for quite a while, and no problem whatsoever. And then I get Tairin, and then I'm having issues. And I mean, think about the fact that this little notch here is really not that deep. I don't know if you can see it, but there you go. Maybe that's better. It's really not that deep, so it doesn't take much flex. I agree to come off, for the tab to come off of that. But when everything is sandwiched together, that would mean that the frame would have to flex too. Like the rear triangle, I have a Evil Insurgent bike, so the rear triangle is all one piece, and it's stiff. So, like I've never experienced anything like that before, so I can't tell. But to me, that sounded a little too far-fetched. So that was the problem at the time. And also another issue I had was you've seen from the first review that this hub is really easy to take apart to do maintenance. And that's a good thing, but it's also a bad thing in the sense that, again, you put it back on, and you put it back on the wheel, and with those cassettes we have, it's easy to, while you manipulate the wheel and trying to put it back in its dropout or dropouts, to have a little flex, because nothing is squeezed together at that point, so it can still move, and it doesn't take much for that tab, like I said, to come off, and it did. And then you squeeze everything back together thinking you're good to go, and then you go and try to pedal the bike, and it's now a fixie. because that tab came off and it just locked everything together as one unit, and everything rolls together, and you come off with a fixie bike. So that was an issue, which it still is, because it's super hard to put back together and get that tab in line with the notch. And the thing is, like, I have a spring in there already. It's in the G configuration. I'll talk about that a little later as to why it's in a G now. So you can see it's inside there. So my way of doing it and making it easier for me is to take the cam plate by itself, align it with the notch, and then mount the rest of the body with it that way. Because if you have the plate on the body and you're trying to align with the tab, first, you don't see what you're doing because it's blocking everything you could see inside. And not only that, is if you're trying to push straight, well, the pawls are in the way. There's this little rubber sealing around there, and the pawls are actually over it at this point. So the only way you can push it back in without damaging that seal is to rotate the hub body to get the pawls to get back in, and then you push it in. Problem with that is at that point you have no idea what that cam plate is, where that notch is, because you just turn and that spring inside didn't turn with it. So you're pretty much fucked, in my opinion. So I'd like to know if anybody of you guys did purchase one and have a better way to get it to work. I would appreciate. So far, this is the only way I found, which is easier for me. But once you've done that, you're not out of the water either, because then you have to put it back in the dropouts on your bike. And as soon if you hit your derailleur, or if the chain comes onto your cassette, or if you bang the caps on the dropouts, that's all it takes for it to flex the main hub body, and that tab might just come off and then be not in that notch anymore. And then again, you think you're good, put it all back together, squeeze it, tight it, and you like I said, you end up with a fixie bike. So that's irritating. That's the only hub I know that have that kind of issue, to be honest. And to me, I would go as far as saying that it's a design flaw. So there you have it. This is my impression so far. I got it to work well to the as far as engagement. Never had any problem afterwards, except for the occasional little click sound because you're in between with your teeth and your paws, and then they just engage properly at one point. Sometimes they're just sitting on top, and then it does a little click as you start pedaling, but that's it. That's off and on. It's pretty sporadic. So I don't know. I'm like I said, I'm not 100% satisfied with the hub because of those main issues. Tairin are really good as far as customer service. They, they sent me a bunch of parts to replace and trying to fix the problem at no cost. And it was speedy delivery too. That being said, this would be the third revision of the hub. Because, they had that first one that you can see that the V1 version was a totally different design in the back there. Same idea, but just done differently. And the second version was when they sent softer spring leaves because they had some issue whatsoever. Maybe some other customer brought up some other issues that maybe I didn't experience at that point. And also, as I was saying, when it came, it was in an E configuration, and now it's in a G configuration. So something changed there. And what it did for me too is, fine, the G configuration works as far as engagement goes. Never had any trouble with that afterwards. but never got a totally silent hub either. There's always this faint ratcheting present, and I never got to be as quiet as when I first got it. And part of the reason, I think, is because it's in a G configuration now. When you're coasting, that cam plates stop rotating, and then it just pretty much squeeze the G spring together that way inside the hub. And this sits in the main body like this at the back of it. And so I'm thinking if it gets smaller inside, less friction, which means the cam plate doesn't have as much load on it as it should, as per the E configuration, what it would do is expand it. And that makes so much more sense to me, because then you have a lot more friction. And in this configuration, it was totally silent, but also I was having engagement problem. So, like I said, at this point, I don't really know what to think of it yet. I haven't got to talking to Tairin about it, and I will send him a message eventually about this. And I was thinking maybe my spring wasn't, expanded enough as a start, or maybe it's twisted or whatever. Find all kinds of reason as to why it's not working the way it's intended to. But yeah, so far this is my review of it. I am not completely satisfied. It is reliable, but it's no longer as silent as it was. And that's the thing that kind of pissed me off, because it was really nice to, you're coming from Chris King, you're coming from i9 Torch, super loud hub, and now it's super silent. It was kind of it was a change, and I liked it. It kind of makes you experience biking in a different way. I don't know if I just feel like more in tune with the nature around, which you can hear a lot more, and you're not scaring wildlife or whatever. And if you have anything weird with the bike, you're gonna hear it. Trust me. If your brake are not aligned properly, or if there's some clunking noise of some sort, you're gonna hear them all. So yeah. So make it what you want. I think it's still an early design for Tairin. They haven't been around for a long time. I think they're gonna come up with a version eventually that's gonna be easier to work with, especially with putting it back together and making it like stay in place, because that's a pain in the ass for me. So make it what you will, but for now, this is what I think of the hub, and I guess if anything else comes up, I'll let you know in 6 months afterwards. So yeah, that's it. See you guys.